Hey guys, Joe here from Wild Aquatics and Exotics. In today's video, I'm going to be making some suggestions as to what I think are good beginner fish choices. This is the fifth and final video in our Introduction to Freshwater Aquarium series, where we guide you step by step to get your first freshwater tank set up and running. So, if you want to stay up to date with future videos, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. As this is a beginner video, I'm only going to be referring to sensibly sized community fish for a 100 to 200 litre tropical freshwater tank. I'm not going to give loads of detailed information on every species, as you can find all the info you need from a quick Google search, so it's more going to be a list of names, so please do your own individual research before purchasing any animal. That being said, I'm going to organise this list by the job the fish do, starting with the cleanup crew. Firstly, let's talk about algae eaters. I'd always suggest adding algae eaters to the tank because they will clean all the decorations. Although they won't do all the work for you, they will certainly reduce the total amount of algae, preventing it from getting out of control. It's worth remembering in especially clean tanks with very little algae, which can include brand new ones, these herbivorous fish may require extra feeding with some sort of vegetable or algae wafer. Some algae-eating species I'd recommend are Otocinclus, otherwise known as ottos, Pandagaras, Stiphodon gobies, hillstream loaches, and any smaller species of Plecostomus, otherwise known as plecos or plex. Fair warning, some of these can breed readily and grow quite large eventually, so make sure you only pick a smaller species like a bristlenose plec. Amano shrimp, a very cool see-through shrimp that will polish all the ornaments and plants in your aquarium. You may not see these very often as they can be very well hidden. And aquatic snails. Just be sure to flip these over if you find them upside down, as they can struggle to right themselves. Next we have excess food eaters. There is always the chance of overfeeding, so it's very useful to have scavengers at the bottom of the tank cleaning up after your mistakes. Some of the previously listed algae eaters are omnivorous, so will scavenge on the uneaten food, but some other species include Corydoras catfish, or cories, and coolie loaches. Next, onto shoaling fish. These are going to be the main group of fish that will appear in the centre of the tank. These are usually very small and need to be kept in groups to see shoaling behaviour and prevent hiding. Usually a group of 5 or more is absolutely fine, but they will feel safer and more confident in larger numbers. I'd stick to only picking 1 or 2 different species if you're going to mix them together. Fortunately, there is not much difference in care between the different types, and they're all pretty peaceful, discounting the larger varieties, so I'll list a few examples. Some of the peaceful tetras can include neon tetras, cardinal tetras, glow light tetras, and ember tetras. Some of the peaceful barbs are cherry barbs and pentazona barbs, otherwise known as 5-banded barbs. Rasporas can include harlequin rasporas, neon green rasporas, and chili rasporas. Some of the danios include zebra and leopard danios, and glow light danios. Some of the smaller rainbow fish include threadfin rainbow fish and forktail rainbow fish. And finally, endler guppies. These are a very small and very colourful species of guppy that are a lot more peaceful than the regular guppies. These are great for adding a multicoloured fish to the tank, but I will talk about the other types of livebearers in a moment. Next, statement fish. These should be kept singly or in male to female pairs and will provide big boosts of colour and personality to the tank. These should be added last to the aquarium to allow the smaller fish to establish territories, otherwise you risk these bigger fish being defensive towards smaller fish if they're added later on. Firstly, betters, otherwise known as Siamese fighting fish. These are actually very peaceful and are only aggressive to other males of the same species, so you'd only keep 1 per tank. They can come in a few different varieties and many different colours, but because of their long fins they are very vulnerable to getting nipped, so make sure to only put these in with peaceful tank mates, and be wary of putting them in with aquariums with very high flow, as they aren't particularly strong swimmers. And gouramis. There's a few different types of gourami, and they do best in male to female pairs. Some species can get a bit larger than others, but there are many dwarf varieties, so make sure to do your own research before buying. Which brings us on to livebearers, which are a group of fish that give birth to live young. These include guppies, platies, mollies, and swordtails. Even though these are very active and colourful fish, they will breed a lot, which could be fun if you wanted a project, but the likelihood is that the fry will get eaten by the other fish in the tank, including the parents. One thing I will say about livebearers is that they have a reputation for being nippy to other long-finned fish, including each other. As they will nip each other, there is a likelihood that you may lose some along the way. They technically are a brackish fish, meaning that they need an amount of salt in the water, but they do perfectly well in a completely freshwater setup. So hopefully that's given you some good food for thought and should give you some ideas to plan your next setup. Remember to always do your research before making a purchase and make sure you do not add fish to your aquarium until it is cycled first. And that brings our introduction to Freshwater Aquarium series to a close. As the series was mostly theory based, in our next series, Getting Started, we're going to run through some of the more practical elements of setting up your first freshwater aquarium. So if you enjoyed this series, don't forget to like and subscribe for updates on the videos in the next series. Thanks for watching.